Welcome to the Open Mic, everyone. We do this call because MSPs requested it. You wanted to hear what's new with the platform, what we've been working on, and what bugs we have fixed. Just some reminders. We use Discord here. Discord is just a natural evolution of human communications. We started with Morse code. We got telephones and radios, and then email, then ICQ. Yeah, don't want to forget about ICQ, and then AIM, right? And then
I remember ICQ.
Maybe IRC and Slack, and then Discord. It's just a natural evolution of communications. We'll be happy to step back in time, but we won't do Morse code with you, but we will do Discord. If you are interacting with my team in real time on Discord, make sure you tag them or respond in a reply so that we get notified. We've been monitoring a ton of questions. And then also, speaking of questions, I've done a lot of research here trying to figure out what makes a MSP successful with automation. And the biggest determining factor of who will be successful and who will not be successful is, first off, folks who think they're already an expert and so they don't want to learn and so they don't ask questions. So if you want to make kick-ass automations, just ask some questions. Go in your private Discord, ask some questions. Go in the coop, ask those people questions. Next thing you know it, you'll be making some really good automations. Don't forget about flow. Can someone throw the flow? I don't even know if we have anyone on from Rewst that can throw a flow link in there. Thank you, Brian. Flow's awesome. If one of the best ways to advance your career, even if it's not automation related, one of the best ways to advance your career is to public speak. What you're doing is you're selling your ideas and you're selling your thoughts. And learning how to public speak and to sell your ideas will take you very far in life. We're going to have hundreds of people at Flow that want to hear your automation ideas. They don't want to see you fail. They want to see your talk. So even if you think you're messing up on stage, the folks are going to be rooting you on to succeed, and they probably won't even notice that you're messing up. So it's a great place to learn how to speak. Also, if you want to chat with us, throw it in the chat. Raise your hand if you have any questions. I'm trying to think, am I forgetting anything? Oh, this isn't a real open mic. This is an unscheduled open mic because, as you've seen, almost all the team was unavailable this week. So thank you so much for putting up with our slower response time this week. Everyone is traveling back right now. We'll be back to our normal response times before you know it. There will be a couple gifts for you folks in the form of upcoming features. And because we did a new type of bounty this year, and I can't wait to show you these features. And so I'm going to have the teams that worked on them present them on the open mic in advance of their release. And I hope to do that over the next 1 to 2 weeks as we wrap things up. All right, I think that's all I wanted to talk about. One last thing. This is a highly technical call. This is not meant for C-level execs of MSPs. However, if you want to listen in on what you can do with the platform as an owner of an MSP, please listen in. But just realize it's a bunch of automation folks trying to figure out how and what to automate. All right, Ash, take it away.
Thank you. All right, so a few of you I've talked to about doing a demo today. We're going to have a little bit more time for ourselves because we don't have any internal presentations. So first, we are going to jump over to Danial with a USA to kick us off.
All right. My computer is acting a little funky right now, so hopefully everything, the share actually works. But let me go ahead and share out that screen. There we go. So I've got a couple of smaller ones. We figured we'd show something a little simpler than a lot of the other people show. People love showing off their really cool, complicated creations, but some simple stuff also needs to get done. And we all do it. We just forget we do it and move on because once it's done, it's done. So we've got a couple here. One is automatically sending out, sending quote unquote, forms users, creating forms users in Rewst. So when we tag a contact in manage with say decision maker or owner, actually we use relationship is how we define that. We have Rewst automatically go through manage, pull out those contacts and make sure they're form users. That way, when they click on the links to the forms, they're already there. We don't have to go through and manually create them. And our account management team has never hit me or my automation guy up and be like, I need these people in here quick because I'm about to show them how to do this thing. We don't have to worry about that. As long as they go into manage and tag them properly, then they're already in Rewst so they can use the forms without us having to do anything. And it's pretty simple. That's, of course, the power of Rewst is we just get all the contacts. We make a condition here that says, hey, if they're in these decision maker, financial approver, or owners, then pull down the list of Rewst users for that organization, then merge the two, basically removing any of the Rewst already existing Rewst users, and then for the remainder, send invite, which for forms users doesn't actually send an invite, but it creates them as form users. So we have this run, I believe, daily. So as long as the account management team had tagged them the prior day, they will be ready the next day when they have that meeting to show the client how to use the forms. It's a real simple one, but when you're talking about working Rewst in and replacing existing systems with Rewst, the more you can streamline that and speed it up, and reduce barriers for like your account management team, the better. So that's a real simple one, but we've had great success with it. So the next one I wanted to show real quick is the ticket creation workflow. It looks like I got a few questions on that one. What do you do about uninviting them when they fall out of scope? We're too new in it, Jim Barry, and we do not have it removing people yet. I imagine we can. Just the same, we kind of do the opposite, where we pull the list of users that are in there, and if they don't show up in the list of ConnectWise in that with those categories, then we remove them just the same. All right, cool. So someone else asked the logic on that. I mean, I think we just kind of like thought about how we would do it. If there are other people talking, I haven't heard anyone talk in a while, so I'll keep.
No, you're it. You're good.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Again, my team's just being weird. I don't see anyone's faces, so I just see all initials in Teams. So, anyways, yeah. So our for that one, I think we just kind of knew what we wanted and just quickly like, hey, get users, get Rewst users, subtract Rewst users from manage users, and then push manage users to that. So that one was pretty trivial. I don't think that one took any real like paperwork logic or anything like that. So this one, however, is much more complicated, our ticket creation workflow. So anytime a ticket gets created in manage, it is automatically kicked off through this workflow that tries to just resolve things or mark things or do something to the ticket, whatever that is. So we have basically we have, hey, where did the ticket come from? If it came from SaaS alerts, run the SaaS alerts automation. If you come from Automate, run through this these possible things that Automate does that Rewst can do something about. And then on top of that, we have if the company is our initial GUM for one of our clients, they are a weird one that has multiple agreements, and depending on the site of the user is which agreement should be applied. And we were having text do that. Obviously, text forget. So now Rewst pulls the user or the contact on the ticket and sets the agreement to match the site. The agreement name matches the site name, and so it matches those two and automatically applies it. So that took care of one of our biggest ticket issues, was just wrong agreement on that particular client. Then on top of that, the SaaS alerts, we got a lot of noise on that. So we went through and like, hey, what criteria do we not need to see these false positives? So we went through and we just said, like, here are the different possible ways of a false positive in SaaS alerts, and here's how we can identify them. I'm not going to go into all the details here, but this got more complicated. But you can see, because we did the sub workflows, the top level isn't that bad, and we can continue expanding it. And then we go into sub workflows that say, hey, let's do these little pieces. But we just, in the top workflow, we're really just identifying how a ticket came in, or what's an identifying marker, and then everything else gets passed off to a sub workflow. And then the sub workflow, like the SaaS alerts one, we do all kinds of stuff. We have it checking. I didn't create this, but we have it checking like Screen Connect to see if the IP address in SaaS alerts, in the SaaS alerts alert, matches the IP address of a computer in Screen Connect, because we're not trying to stop insider threats. So we can cut down that noise like 95% by just saying, oh, it's an IP address of a computer in our network. Then it's not a problem. It's not what we're looking for. We're looking for outside threats. So that significantly cuts down the noise, even out of country, because we know the laptop is out of country. So that works really well. And we just we just sat down, we looked at, hey, here's our criteria of, here's SaaS alerts, here are the false positives, the various types of false positives, and how we can detect them. Which system does Rewst have access to detect that there is a false positive? Another big one was guest users. So we would get alerts about out-of-country sign-in for a guest user. So that's a client's guest user. Like at that point, we're not going to call some random, third party and be like, hey, is one of your employees out of country? That doesn't make a lot of sense. So, we have Rewst go in there, and it just checks intra to see if the user is a guest user in intra. And if it is, then it goes ahead and closes that ticket, because we don't need that ticket. It'd be nice if SaaS alerts did that, but they don't. So we did it with Rewst, and that cut down knock time by at least an hour a day, was just dealing with all those false positives, closing them out and whatnot. And then a lot of other workflows we've done. I'm not going to get into the details on them, but like 90-day offline. So when a computer comes, we have it automate creates a ticket when a computer's been offline for 90 days, and Rewst does some sanity checks and puts some details in the ticket, like, hey, it checked into Screen Connect 10 days ago. So clearly there's just a broken agent, or, it just pulls all the various systems, like last check-in time. If the user's got a new computer recently, if they've signed into other computers, it puts all that data in the ticket for the tech to still do the work. But we've cut 15 minutes off of every single one of those tickets by just doing the analysis for them. And so we just did that with, we just looked at all of our tickets, mostly on the knock board, because it's my department. But we've been looking at the knock board and seeing like, hey, where can we get rid of this ticket permanently, or make it much easier on the knock tech to fulfill it? And that is, again, every ticket that opens up, it just runs through this list. This one's a little messy, but with Rewst, unfortunately, you can't control the lines very much, so you got to do weird things sometimes to make it readable. But there you go. That's my two. Yeah, as James said, James is my automation engineer. He said the SaaS alerts ticket workflow closed 37 tickets yesterday. So that would have been 37 tickets a tech would have had to spend at least a few seconds determining was a false positive and closing. And as you all know, the second you touch a ticket, that's 2 to 5 minutes guaranteed on every single ticket. So by getting rid of those false positives, we've significantly freed up our knock tech to put new and interesting things on the knock board instead of wasting his time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daniel. Christian says, really like that workflow. Great ideas. Thank you, Andy. All right. So We have Sam, who said that he's got something that he could show off. Did you want to do that now, Sam?
Sure. I will share my screen and yeah. So so essentially to give you some backstory here, we are in the process of migrating from ConnectWise Automate to Ninja. And one of the big issues was we have like literally hundreds of locations for our clients. And as you can imagine, just sitting there pressing the plus button, typing in the name of the location, pulling in the address details, all that stuff is just nobody wants to do it. And I mean, I told myself I'm not going to do that. It would literally take me days to do that. And honestly, data entry is not a fun thing to do. So there was that part of the migration, and then there's also moving over agents as well. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to migrate over our companies and our locations inside of ConnectWise Automate into Ninja companies and locations. So essentially what I did here was I know I just pulled out my companies from ConnectWise Automate. So I'm just pulling in the company name here. And then I'm going through and getting the company ID and name and passing that through into a sub workflow here, our Ninja migration, create companies in Ninja. So now in the sub workflow, I am going in and creating my Ninja org with that company name, pulling in some of our defaults here. I created an org that we have for our that we're cloning our policies from, which right now we don't have any of the policies enabled, but yeah, we'll be migrating over soon. All those things. And then I go through and I list out the sites. So I'm pulling in sites from our company inside of ConnectWise Automate. And then now I'm going to be creating the sites. So basically I go in and here's another sub workflow, create locations. I'm just taking that address, which I actually pulled in from here. So you can see I'm just taking all the address details, including the zip code, state, city, all that stuff that we have in ConnectWise Automate, pulled that in and creating the Ninja site with that information, as well as we are creating it with that org. And then the location name is the same location for ConnectWise Automate. So combined, what that did was basically allowed us to create hundreds of locations. Just imagine you could have basically thousands of locations if you wanted to in ConnectWise Automate and move those over into Ninja. So that saved us a tremendous amount of time, as you can imagine, and the workflow completed in like 2 minutes. Whereas it would have taken me days to go in and create the sites, and I'm sure that there would have been errors because when you're copying and pasting information or trying to pull down the address, that's just a lot of work, and there's just prone to errors throughout the process. Whereas when you're using this with automation, it saves you the time, makes sure it's done reliably because it's going through all of our sites, and making sure it's done through the same process. So very easy and quick automation that we did there. That was the first one that we had. And then I wanted to take this to the next level because once we have our sites created, now we need to move over our agents. And we have our agents inside of ConnectWise Automate, and they're in a specific location. So obviously I want those to be moved over to the correct location inside Ninja. So the first thing I did there was I created a EDF. This is our lab site inside ConnectWise here, and we just create an agent URL EDF field for the location. This is for our lab site. And then once I created that, now I create this workflow, which basically lists out our organizations, pulls in, creates this list. We don't need the main office site, but all the other ones, we just need the location ID, location name, organization ID, and organization name. That's going to be from Ninja. So just pulling out those details to kind of reduce the amount of information that we have here. Then I'm just going through running the sub workflow, passing all that information in. And then I'm doing another check just to make sure it's not the main office because it as you're going through and creating the location installers, it takes a significant amount of time, like 30 seconds per installer from Ninja through their APIs. So it's not a quick, instant process to create their agent installers right now. So that's why I wanted to double validate that it's not going to go through the main office. Then it goes through, lists the locations for that company name. So since we know that the company names and the site names are identical between the two systems, I can reference those throughout the two different systems, ConnectWise and Ninja. So what I did was get the location ID. So basically I'm saying, hey, my Ninja site, let's just say is lab. We're listing out the locations for our lab here, and then we're getting that automate location ID. So then what we can do is run the mapping here, which basically is our automation ConnectWise Automate location ID, our Ninja location, and our Ninja org. And then this is where the magic is, where it is generating that installer for the org. So we're using the Windows MSI file. Here's our Ninja org and our Ninja location. And then I'm going through taking the output of this, which is our Ninja installer URL file, URL. And then I'm going through adding that and updating our EDF with the agent URL. So what that looks like is you have each location inside ConnectWise Automate now has their own unique Ninja agent URL that you can use to deploy out the agent. So now with that, I just created a script that just pulls in this, basically tells the agents to download from that URL, and then they go into the correct site inside Ninja. So just like that, I moved everything over, and now, as you can imagine, there was thousands of agents, and I use that to move them over so that all the agents are in their correct sites and their correct company, and the sites and the companies are created exactly just like ConnectWise Automate. So that was a lot.
That's awesome. Thank you, Sam. Does anybody have any questions today? I'm just looking. Just like a
Yeah, I
lot of
can
feedback.
share. Yeah, I can share what our script looks like inside of ConnectWise Automate. Just make sure it's not going to show anything. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so essentially all I'm doing in ConnectWise Automate is checking to see if the Ninja agent is installed. If it is, then exit out the script, and then we're just pulling in that agent URL, and then saving it as the ninja.msi file, and then we're just running a basic MSI exec to install the Ninja agent, and then resending the software inventory into ConnectWise. And then I have a search inside ConnectWise for devices that don't have Ninja, so they just constantly get pushed out with the correct location. So
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Yes. So there is definitely plenty of time. I just want to make sure that is Emmitt, are you on the call? If you're not, then okay, cool. You don't see you yet. Emmitt will be doing something when he has joined. I have something that I'm going to quickly show you guys. And then, oh, actually, Rod, did you want to go first? I just saw your message there.
Sorry, just on you. Oh no, I will say it depends on the time. I'm just willing. I do have something I've been doing that if people want to see and give feedback, I'm more than willing, but time permitting. So if you
We
want
will
to do your
definitely
stuff
have.
first.
Yeah, why don't we
Rod's more important than whatever we're going to show. So why don't you show what you're working on, no matter the state, and tell us the value it's providing you. And then if you're stuck anywhere, why don't you ask folks to help you get unstuck?
Sure. Okay, just give me a second. I will share. So, server, I got this thing still running, but one of the things that we have had a challenge on and what I'm using right now is to actually be able to get a lot of reports. We have our computers in Central. We have all our computers in Halo. We have them all in ThreatLocker. We have them all in Active Directory. And one of the big challenges that we always have is where are computers missing? How do we? What's the master list? How do we know when something is somewhere? Is something following our compliance guidelines? Well, we take our compliance from N-Central, but if somebody didn't put N-Central onto their computer and it's not there, how do we know? Also, getting the compliance. One thing that N-Central is terrible about is they have no reporting on custom properties. You can't do it within their own stuff. I can't do a report on it. So there's a lot of challenges when it came to reporting for us. So to show you just things that I've done on here, let me close that. Let me go to my workflows. And larger tag. One of the first things I was doing was to get our compliance, actually get our compliance data, going through the information in N-Central, creating the data on it. As you can see, the workflow, the ninja I had to do to get all this stuff. This is an original one where it was checking certain things for fields in there and then giving the values of if it's just compliance or not. This was an initial one that I did, but I wanted to make this a little bit smarter. So I went to the more latest one, which is custom power select user offboarding. No, if that was a new one, I want to make sure which one I've got here. Okay, why am I? Oh, it might not be under Logitech. I'm sorry. Here we go. So the final compliance report. Very large list. This was combining a lot of different lists that were created for this. A lot of the things are not flat table. They're not like flat lists. So I quickly had to learn, and ChatGPT has been a godsend for me with helping to create this stuff and combining the data. I'll show you but the bottom line is I get all this data from my compliance data. We export this and we send it to Azure tables in a table. Then the newest one that I'm doing here, which you saw running, goes and grabs some other data. So in this case, I'm grabbing all of our ThreatLocker computers and information, sending it to the Azure, getting a report of all our computers in Halo, sending it to Azure, and the one that I just finally got going today was getting all the computers from Active Directory. That one was a challenge because it was got a lot of errors with it, but we finally got it going. So we send all this to Azure Tables, and we have our list of 80 computers. We have our list of Halo assets. We have our ThreatLocker stuff. We got our workstation compliance. From there, I've been able to go into, if I bring the right one up, the reason why I do this is because I like Power BI for doing everything. And then you can see I haven't got the Active Directory stuff in here because I just got that working today, but the idea is that I get our Halo assets in here. I've got the ThreatLocker. I've got all the workstation stuff. And then I'm able to list all the computers in here. I can use properties from all the different applications, so we can do asset reports that are basically cross-platform from all the different integrations we have. I will add Active Directory on here. We are then able to see where things are missing, see the status of them. Basically allows us to find where we have issues, where service desk people that are responsible for cleaning stuff up and adding things have missed their steps. Now, hopefully we're going to have automation take care of most that stuff so they don't make the mistakes. But in the meantime, we have to find them. An example being here is we have a computer that says it's disposed, but it's still showing up in our ThreatLocker. So, you know, that means we're paying a license for this, and we didn't. So this helps us identify this stuff. I'm a big fan. I like Power BI. Somebody on the forums did suggest me to use Azure Tables for it, so I've gotten to know Azure Tables since then to be able to do this. And this is the idea: is this is going to lead to much more feature-rich reports once I also get the Active Directory stuff in here. So as somebody that's only been, we've had this not even, I got access over the Christmas holidays. Wasn't much going on there. So in 3 weeks, I think I've learned a fair bit, and I've been started to progress to be able to do a few things in Rewst that are really helping us. Other examples that we have, if I've set up automations to set values and fix values. Halo has rules that will trigger when you make a change on a ticket. But if you want to check things on tickets that have already closed, they have no way to do that. So one of the things I set up a workflow that just regularly goes and it looks, and if time information is missing from a closed ticket, it automatically sends an email to the person that ticket was assigned to remind them that it's missing, and they have to go in and fix it. So those are the examples of what I've been doing.
Rod, you're killing it.
And as I said, ChatGPT, as like I couldn't have done so much of this I couldn't have done without it.
Have you? Is it just the regular ChatGPT that you've been using, or like special versions, or? Well,
I added that there is a Rewsty one there, so I generally use that one when I can. But I've done it with both versions.
That's going to ask. It's great. I love seeing people use it.
Yeah, no, somebody pointed it out to me, so I said, hey, yep, no, why not? It's extremely useful. I've tried to, a lot of this stuff, as I said, I started with one thing for the compliance. I expanded to another. I've been sort of trying to improve on stuff. So I've learned to, like, all the stuff I could have done here, I could have tried to combine the data myself or whatever and just send to one table to Azure. But I realized for some of the more stuff I add here, just the more complicated the change is going to be. And the fact that our use of this is that Power BI is going to do the reports. Well, it's a lot easier for me to create 3 different tables, 4 different tables. And then in Power BI, I just create the relationships between the tables so that the data goes together, rather than trying to do that in one change expression to put everything into one table.
Brad, do you need any help from the group? Is there anything that you maybe need optimization help or couldn't figure out how to do?
I've got the last stuff I got was with the Active Directory today, so I can't say there's nothing outstanding right now. Things appear to be working the way that I want it. But it's like, example would be as I'm showing how I've done some of this stuff, is that, again, am I doing like setting up the workflows? Like the way I've set this up like this, I go, hey, this works for me or whatever, but I don't know, is this the best way to do this? Two things like that, sending 3 different actions, sending to the different Azure. Since it's 3 different tables, I assume this probably is the best way, but I haven't been doing it long enough. So from what I've shown, if anyone notices anything from a best practice as other ways of setting stuff up, I'm definitely open to advice on. It was nice. Somebody mentioned yesterday, which helped me, was I wanted to be testing this workflow and I didn't want the Halo and ThreatLocker to get sent to Azure. So somebody pointed out, just put 1 = 3 on here and it won't go to that step. Because I was wondering, I go, is there a way to disable an action so that when you're testing it doesn't go to it? So that was quite useful advice that I got. So I said, you guys, I always, if you've seen in the forum, in the Discord, I give you guys a lot of praise. You guys have been like, all of the ROC guys have been really great with their help. And though I have noticed is sometimes it gets a bit tough with more specific things because I recognize so many integrations, ROC can't know every single integration, right? So when I was having trouble sending stuff, sending to Azure tables, getting errors and stuff and not understanding why, even some of the ROC guys had trouble with that. Now we've got it fairly straightened out. But even something today I would give an example of is, I wonder if this is the one where, okay, that created that. And I was getting on my with items, it's like my results, when I was doing with just JSON, it was giving up with errors. And all my other ones just worked with JSON. There's something up with the list. So I ended up having to change, trial and error. I said, okay, well, can I do this? Can I do the stringify first and the JSON and then JSON? And will it convert to the way that I want it? And you know what? Trial and error, I was able to figure out that some of these things worked and got rid of the errors that I had. So sometimes I don't understand exactly why, but that's the sort of things that I'd like is with certain tutorials and stuff that people can do, is that a lot of tutorials and documents will just show sort of step by step, but they don't necessarily explain why certain things are the way they are or how they work. So yeah, it's easy enough to duplicate things to create something, but having more stuff out there that will actually sort of explain how it works and why it works. Like one of the examples I have is I had something like this before, which it had item there, and it had the funny thing about it is the source that I was getting it from. If this might be one of them. Well, not that one. Like the first one that I did it on. That's not here, but in here it had, like, item was mentioned in here. So I thought originally that this item here was actually referring to the item that was in the results there, not realizing that item is just a general thing that is used regardless of what's in the results. The item is, like, it's always going to be item when you do this. Mm-hmm. So that was something that, like, was never explained. Like, I got an example and I went by the example, but because my example had item before, I thought in the next one, oh, I don't have item there, so I changed it to the value that was in my results, and it wasn't working. So that's where I go from the tutorials, is understanding stuff. But it's been a great experience so far.
I'm really impressed how far you've gotten. Just a question, have you gone through the Cluck University courses?
Yep.
spec-
A lot of them. I don't think I've completed all of them, but I have gone through a lot of them.
I don't know if I think they might have, the name might have been changed, but I'll like tap my nose at the number 5 one. You might want to double check on that one a little bit because it dives explicitly into the with items and how to dig into all those things as well. So you might get a little bit of nuggets from that one.
Yep.
If
Oh no,
anybody
I've
can link
gotten a
that.
bit here and there, and sometimes I go back to it to get it because, as I said, I wanted to. At one point, I said I wanted to simplify some of my list I was creating because I was feeling I had too much in the Ninja than I really needed to. So, went back trying to do it. Like I learned today was the one thing that got me is I was the PowerShell script I was getting from Active Directory was sending the time in what's the format, the not the right the format, the is it in here, take time, epoch time. So I was able to use this today to figure out how to convert my fields to the proper time format. So
Yeah. Next week, actually, Rod, if you want to, I'll make sure that the things that I was going to show off, we'll probably not have time this week, but next week I'll make sure that I do. One of them was going to be about those specific things like identifying the areas of that and using transforms for a lot of those. So that you'll probably get a really big kick out of those things as well. Thank you so much for sharing. That was really awesome. Again, I'm so impressed with what you've done in such a short time. All right, Emmitt, are you on the call now? I think I saw you jump in.
It looked
Yes,
like
I
Lucas
am.
had a question for Rob before we.
Oh, Lucas, hello, database. He had a point for you.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a specific reason for the Azure data table usage, but I just wanted to mention it for anyone else on the call because it's a common thing I see. Either leveraging Azure, which is fine, it has its own pros, obviously. But a lot of times I see people using Rewst as a database, either a template or org variables. And Halo actually has a feature baked in for creating custom data tables in its database. So you could go into Halo, create custom database tables.
Yep, I know that. I've
put whatever.
I've done that. So yeah, I guess technically I could have done to there, but it was just, hey, I was looking for.
Yeah.
I put in the forms. I asked. I said, hey, I want to export the data to be able to report on any suggestions. One of the first suggestions came to me was Azure table, so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go look at it. So
This is definitely one of those scenarios where there's probably 10 different ways to accomplish it. And none of them are right. None of them are wrong. As long as the job gets done, right? Then the only wrong one is using org variables as a database, right? That's the.
All right. Emmitt.
Yeah, so I created a workflow that helps us track our inventory through ConnectWise. We're having issues where things weren't getting put on tickets, and we're moving towards using Rewst to help with that. But right now, our field service manager asked me to create something that would help us track the inventories. So I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see here. I believe this is the right screen. My Mac wasn't showing the right screen. Does everyone see it?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So it's a very simple workflow. There's only four calls, but the problem or the hurdles that I had to jump were actually in these two calls, because I could not find any native calls in Rewst for the warehouse inventory check. So it starts with a form that pulls with an options generator that pulls all of our field service techs or anyone that has a car stock or a warehouse in the in ConnectWise. I'll just go ahead and select mine, and then what I've been doing for our inputs is just random values here. So that's been fun to annoy everyone with my clicking keyboard when I was testing it. But we get all the way down here and we hit submit, and the form submits, and it goes through here to the warehouse, the input here, and then the with item to make sure it's all checking correctly. We can actually visualize. It looks like it's succeeded. So then it comes into Outlook here, and it looks like this. That's the old one. This is the one that just came through. The sorting on this is what is being pulled from ConnectWise, and this has this is what ConnectWise says should be in on hand. I do need to make some changes in the HTML for the email, because it's what I have matching is the description here in the description that is in the inventory, based off of what is actually being pulled from the car stock. So some of the like the special characters, like the trademark for the wirepath Cat6 Ethernet cables, doesn't like to play well with the field names, but that's why there's a lot of these no match founds or mismatch. Like this is my input, so there's a mismatch here. So, but yeah, that's what we've been working on, and I'm actually working on an app platform thing so that way our the lady that manages all of the ordering of the equipment can go in and take a look at that, pull someone's car stock, and just make sure everything is correct, or so that way when we get one of these in they when we get one of these emails in, it's supposed to happen once a month, but once we get one of these in, she can go in and say, hey, ConnectWise says you're supposed to have 4, why do you only have 1? And then we can go and find where the field service put it in on a ticket.
Thank you, Emmitt. That's awesome. I'm just checking to see if there's any. Oh, Jamie's got her hand up.
No, actually, I was just trying to do the clappy hands react. I love seeing simple business problems solved. The inventory tracker reminded me of the one, I can't remember who built it, to track where the cars, if they had a car available to go on site.
Geek tech guys, I think.
Very cool.
All right. So does anybody else have any questions? Anything that they want to chat about, show off? Give you a couple seconds.
We had a suggestion earlier for newbies to show off stuff. Any new folks? Rod keeps asking about PowerShell. Rod, what in specific did you hear about PowerShell? Just to make sure that we're talking about the same thing.
Nothing specific, just that you guys are working on improving PowerShell and Rewst and the way things are done. I've been told there's a lot of talk about it, and so I'm kind of curious as what sort of what sort of things are you guys actually looking at in improving PowerShell?
This is one of the rewards for allowing us to do a kickoff this year, everyone here. I don't know exactly which open mic it will be, but in the upcoming open mics, it could be next week or the week after or whatever. We'll be doing some pretty cool demos, one of them in regards to that.
Awesome.
Rod. So stay tuned. I'm curious, who leaked anything to you? Was it your CS person, your ROC person?
I think it was ROC just said.
Don't name sources, Rod. Let it be a mystery. You don't reveal sources. Aaron is the source of anybody else.
There's a leak in the ship.
It was in the Discord. Hey, it wasn't much, just that it was a hot topic, and and you know what? Yes, working to improve. That's what I'm saying. I got no details at all, so that's why I was curious and asking. So they did not expose anything other than
it's okay.
It's something that a lot of people are talking about, and there's a push to get stuff done on it, because as I said, I just started this week working on getting PowerShell stuff working, and I'm doing this, and I'm going, oh my God!
Hey, Rod. I'm the biggest leaker in this company. And the only reason why I asked is I want to know who outdid me. That's it. That's all. It's no one's getting it. It's okay. Thank you, Rod.
Guys, my primary purpose for coming to this open mic was to see if I could suppress the leaks from Aaron. I didn't know someone else was doing it.
Wait, you can suppress Aaron?
No, but I just like to know and to try.
A little bit like rolling a boulder up a never-ending hill.
Speaking of PowerShell,
I think it might have been Jamie. I think it might have been when I was talking to Jamie.
Yeah.
Like when we were talking on the phone. I think that's where I may have got the data from.
Rod, you're gonna fit right in here. I also blame Jamie. Hey, Chris W's got a really super small workflow, and I like super small workflows. So Chris, you got 3 minutes. Show us what you got.
Let's share the screen. So I actually work with Emmitt. He's actually the primary guy doing Rewst at our company. I kind of sit in the sidelines. I'm a manager. So this is kind of a super small workflow I did. Helped me learn a lot. So the issue we're seeing is in Huntress, some of the Windows Defender machines were getting flagged, hey, we need a reboot because of this. I thought this would be an easy way to pull that list from Huntress. And we just come in here, pull this from Huntress, and then filter out for anything that needed that reboot from Huntress. And then go through, grab the same thing with Ninja, grab the Ninja list, and then filter that out and combine that list. Basic stuff you guys are all used to, just a really small use case. And then I run a PowerShell script with Ninja to schedule reboots for all those machines during maintenance time. So yeah, just something super small that was fun to do.
I'm not, at Rewst, we're vendor neutral. We want to see all the products that you folks love and use succeed. However, I am seeing more and more Ninja users. I'm just saying.
Don't let me talk about ConnectWise.
Is there anything, since there's so many, when we started Rewst, like ConnectWise, sure, there's a huge data following, but we're talking 3-4 years ago. But it was like ConnectWise was number one RMM and Rewst, and then it was Datto. I do see a trend that Ninja is going to be very high on that list. Let us know if there's any API or action enhancements we need to do on Ninja, since it's now so highly used in the platform. Since we are talking about RMMs, if you are, I still can't believe I'm talking about this years later, but Datto RMM can take anywhere between 5 to 20 minutes to return still. So if you're doing real-time automations with Datto, like forms, or just sitting around waiting for your automation to run, Rewst cannot control that. That is just the length of time that ORMM takes to run a command. We do have alternatives for you, like Agent Smith, if you want to work with the team. And oh, by the way, I think this was announced. Can I make Jamie Visitor an Agent Smith announcement during the, no? Okay, I won't talk about that. You're on mute. I heard there was an announcement.
Probably
Too
for the
late.
best.
You just leaked it.
Did I? Never mind. We'll talk about it soon. But we do have dedicated folks now writing code for Agent Smith. We were hoping the community would pick up their free agent and run with it. So we're going to pick up the free agent and run with it.
So just like put Agent Smith on a central server in your environment, and you can do all your on-prem tasks from that one agent. Something like
Sure.
that.
Yeah, it's a free open source agent that we made.
I'd like to find. I'd like to find out about that. I was asking about that, if it can be used that way, because I get not wanting to put Agent Smith on all your machines, but and if you have a sort of like having a Rewst probe for on-prem
exactly.
to be able to do tasks.
Exactly. There's in that scenario, there's no reason to put it on all of your devices. With that, thank you, everybody. It's the top of the hour. We'll be back again next Friday. I'll try not to stress out Jamie or marketing on that day. See you folks again next week. See you in the coop. Thank you, everyone, for demoing.
See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Hi, everybody.